Summer Scott, baby.
This is Azure Strife, and we're all just living in the summer of Scott. Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. I've been everything you wanna be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. Like Mussolini and Kennedy. I'm the cult of personality. Cult of personality. The cult of personality.
Incoming transmission. Download complete.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Bradcast show after tournament report. Tonight we have with us Scott Company Cramco. I don't know what the name is. Scott Cramton.
Cram Company Crampton.
Hey, Scott, thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks for coming up to the tournament tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I love these tournaments. These are like the staple of meta right now.
I love to hear that, but it also makes me it's very humbling to hear that as
Horny?
well.
Horny? It makes you horny? I heard
A
horny.
little bit horny.
You heard it first.
All 2 inches, just budging up against my laptop.
All right.
All right, so let's get underway. Scott is under a time cramp. I don't know if that's a pun or not.
Kind of fun.
Scott, let's go over your team. What was your main force, your sideline, and your maps?
All right. So sideline is the basic sideline that everybody's playing right now, which is essentially Destroyer, who never came in because I don't think anybody ever attacked me that was equipped. I don't think that ever happened.
Oh,
And then maps, you can just throw those away. Basically, just say negative zone because I don't know what maps I'm playing right now. So I Destroyer, I had Sentinels, I have Scrolls. I always play the max sideline because I don't see the reason not to. If like Thanos dies turn 1, I'm going to bring in every Sentinel I can.
yep.
You know, like so I'm not going to be like disappointed. I don't know why I wouldn't. But my team was Thanos, Saki Iron Man. It was Marvella, Molecule Man, and
Commissioner.
oh gosh, Commissioner. And it kind of has everything. You know, it's amazing what you get. But the real thing about it is, I felt like people aren't very good at dealing with barrier. But I will also say that based on my matchup right then, I am wrong because I played 2 Molecule Men. But then my first matchup, I did play somebody that did not have a good answer for barrier, and he never really was able to attack me. So
I think, and I know I try to set the stuff later, but personally, I think once you start getting to Top Cut, you're like, going to see those teams that can answer barrier. And Swiss, it's a wild something. That's it.
well, it's tough, right? There's really just exactly one answer for barrier, and it's Molecule Man.
Yeah.
And if you're playing theme, you're probably not playing him. What's weird is I played non-theme because I felt like everybody was playing theme, and I didn't play a single theme team, which is
Yes,
bonkers.
I talked about this with somebody a few days ago, where I don't know if it's me and you, or mostly you and a little bit me, but it seems to be in my tournaments at the last couple of weeks that there's a shift going to unthing or very, very low thing. Uh,
Yeah, which
ju-
is weird because then that makes me want to play theme Thanos. You know,
it's
like
if you're not getting the +8 and the +9, then just go low or none at all, you know?
yeah, my goal has been to not do any, but like my also thoughts are there's if if there's 40% of the field not playing theme, then +5 is good.
Yeah. That's something I always like about you. I think about you sometimes, Scott. I like to
Oh,
attribute players as like a certain comic book character or a movie character or an anime or something. And
are you going to go cheap and just say Professor X or something, or Lex Luthor?
no, uh, it's actually a really good volleyball player from an anime called Haikyuu.
Did you say good volleyball player?
Yeah, uh, it's an anime called Haikyuu. This basically this
Okay.
this guy does is that he's a defensive player, and he doesn't play defensive like how other people do it, where they react to what's going on. Instead, they're guessing of where you're going to go, because they once they get a good read on how things are getting set up, he'll just guess, and usually he'll get it right. Sometimes he gets it very wrong, but more often than not, he gets it right. And that's something that I think I see you do, where you're guessing what the meta is going to be, and you have pretty good what's the phrase? A finger on your pulse.
A
You
pulse
have a
on
good read.
the meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like what's interesting is over the years, the first 10, 15 years, I wrote articles and did stuff, and honestly, nobody ever listened to me. So I could just like, hey, I'm like, here's what I'm playing, and nobody ever cared. And now it does like affect things a little bit more. Um, but ultimately, still, fortunately, everybody thinks of me a little bit like a doofus, I guess. So
Mhm.
I can still be like, oh, don't play theme, and people are like, that's dumb. Everyone should play theme. But then
Uh,
here we are in this thing. I will say though that I didn't play anybody going to nationals. Everybody was playing something as kind of like a let's try this out because I'm really going to be playing X-Men,
I think
or let's
Kusafa
try
is
this
going
out.
to nationals.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, well, that's the last time I spoke to him.
Okay.
He's going.
He okay, if he is, I guess I didn't ask him, but he hadn't really played that team much. So do you want me to run down games or what do you
Yeah,
guys normally do?
I have two more follow-up questions for you, and then we'll get into matches.
Do it.
So the next one is, is this a rough draft team or a final draft team? Uh,
Oh, this has been my final draft team for basically since the Disney Plus. I don't know when is this my final draft team? Oh, since they errated Thanos.
okay,
This was like I basically decided, you know what? I'm not going to get the reps with anybody but Thanos, so I decided I'm playing Thanos.
okay, so you're stuck on Thanos a little bit just because of a
Yeah,
time
it's
crunch.
partly the reps. Do I
Yeah,
think Thanos is the best team? I don't think Thanos is the best team. I definitely think there's better teams. I think PJ's team's pretty good. Obviously, if you don't know, PJ stole that team from, let's say, Jackson. Yes, Jackson's who came up with that team. PJ stole it from him in the night because PJ's bad at HeroClix.
uh, you heard it
But
here
that
first.
team that he
PJ
stole from
stole the team.
Jackson that he's been playing that's a very, very good team. Um, I think that there's a lot of better teams out there. I do think Thanos is very weak. I even think that in the right scenario with a few tweakings, the team I just played against was probably a better team.
So that kind of leads up to like my next follow-up question, which is like a 3A, 3B kind of thing. Is this a team that a new player can pick up and play, or is it something that requires, a lot of reps and get familiar with it?
I think that Thanos is a new player's friend in general. I think he's somewhat easy to pilot. There's definitely a lot of decisions, but I mean, if I compare him to like Scarlet Witch, I think he's much easier to play.
Okay, cool. And then the final follow-up question uh, would be the matchups. What matchups do you like for this team? What matchups do you not like for this team?
Um, I've been shocked that emotional modifier is being played so much because everybody's destroying objects right now. It's the
Mhm.
easiest object to destroy. And it doesn't do a lot if you're not playing Thanos. Look, it's an okay object. I mean, the -1 to defense is pretty good, and it's okay, but like, it just feels a little underpowered. So I've been shocked that people are playing it so much because if you take away Thanos, there is no mind control. I apologize. What was the
Yeah,
I,
what
I guess
matchups
I'm
do
not
you like?
wild about I'm not wild about the emotional modifier. I'm not wild about a matchup with Wizards particularly challenging for me. So that's the PJ thing. Although I did technically beat PJ in testing, um, in a testing game where we played 6 turns just as a guarantee, and
Yeah.
we played it for like an hour and a half. So I think that's, I think just hyper aggression, like hyper aggression, and then Fantastic Four is a really bad matchup for me. But I don't think anybody's playing it because it loses so incredibly badly to Scarlet Witch or Agatha. Their Fantastic Four just dies a horrifying death to the two most popular things in the game. So I'm not too worried about that matchup, but obviously it's a huge whammy if it happens.
All right, cool. So let's go into your matches. Round one, you played against Wesley Robertson.
Yeah, great guy, really fun matchup. He played pretty well. Tough thing though, I won map. Put on negative zone, and I actually went out more than I normally do because he was playing Sicarian Iron Man, who's not good on turn one, so I'm not worried about him there. He was playing full point Scarlet Witch, and he was playing Power Broker, who again keeps underwhelming me if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
I'm not into Power Broker. I'm just not. And then the hard to kill War of the Realms Spider-Man. So he didn't have any good ways of just running at me turn one. So I moved out pretty far with the idea that I'll mind control him next turn. And then I just barriered up around Thanos and chose barrier and such like that. Didn't steal his object because he didn't have any, I don't believe.
No, he
So
just had
I,
three standards and three extra
yeah.
for his
Yeah.
power.
Essentially, what happened there is I was able to first mind control Scarlet Witch without doing anything. I think I rolled only a 2 on Thanos, which means I'm not doing much. So I did a lot of heavy barrier. I mind controlled, and I used the Scarlet Witch to run up. I didn't need a high thing because it was like 13 on 18, and then the Spider-Man, I guess, or whatever. But I ended up, I think I just attacked his Saki, and I rolled a crit miss. So
Hmm.
his Scarlet Witch took one, which made her a lot worse.
Yeah.
I think again, Scarlet Witch sucks a bag of clicks right now. Scarlet Witch at 150 to me is not optimized. She is way too easy to get through, and then you're kind of just like, okay, well now she's on her 75 point click, and then she's hard to get through. But yeah. Anyway, he never was able to attack me. Essentially, I mind controlled the Sicarian Iron Man to run up towards me, and then I flurried with my Sicarian Iron Man, attacked him with a rookie, attacked him with Thanos, and his Sicarian Iron Man died. And the name of the game is just, can you get through my barrier? And if he has 2 pieces, the answer is kind of no. He was able to, I got his Scarlet Witch on his last click. Then he was able to do the power thing on me. So my whole team didn't have powers. But I got very lucky, and he missed all his rollouts, and I killed him. So that was kind of turn one, game one. Played about as well as he could have. It's a challenge because his team's a little slower and my team's a little slower.
Well, yeah, it seems like you did
Uh,
a pretty good job. 200-0, round one.
yeah, Jackson. Jackson's obviously become very quickly one of the better players. His team was pretty terrifying. He was playing all the same figures as me, but replaced Thanos with Faust and oh god, what is it? Faust, Demon in Armor, Sky Tyrant, and something else. It has to be something else, right? Because
He
that's not
actually did not send me
175
his
points.
build, so
What's that?
he didn't send me his build, so I don't know actually what he played.
Yeah. He was playing arguably all the best figures in the game.
Okay.
So he ended up moving out. He was pretty confident on that. I don't think that was the right call I was able to kill his Molecule Man, and that's a big deal for him because once he can't get through my barrier and I am a negative zone, he has to go pretty hard. That being said, like I, was able to use his Magneto to attack Sky Tyrant, and I rolled a crit. Like it was really one-sided. I have to say that he rolled a crit miss attacking my Molecule Man with Sicarian Iron Man with no rerolls. Just really kind of, was one-sided. So it's hard to say how that game would have gone. I was very worried though. He had a lot of damage dealing things, very hard to hit. If I had to do it again, he kind of offered me up Molecule Man, so I took it because I could, but in reality, maybe the best call was to just really try for Sky Tyrant. So maybe I should have done that. I don't know. Maybe it's tough though. Like you can't roll breakaway because Venom Magneto's there. Anyway, I end up winning that matchup, largely I think because of his bad luck. But it's a good team. It's hyper aggressive, non-themed. Um, what happens to it long term? If we play like 10, 15 rounds, if I can kill his Sky Tyrant, I don't think he can beat me. I mean, maybe he can, but I don't think he can. Because I don't think his Thanos, I don't think his team, like, let's say I get half and half. If my Thanos is alive, his Saki Iron Man's alive, and maybe like two other random things, I don't think he's beating me. But I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. His team has definitely with Sky Tyrant and them has potential. Last round, I just played Josiah,
Josafa.
and Josafa. Sorry, Josafa. And good game. He could have been more aggressive. He was playing the record team that can get out a 13 6 damage flurry character, like the kids talk about. And that was terrifying to me. He had Molecule Man as well. He had non-theme. He won map. Just really terrifying. But he let my Sicarian Iron Man get both objects, which he could have killed him turn one. Played a little too conservative, and I pinged him off a few times, and that was kind of it. Again, the problem against Thanos in general and Sicarian Iron Man is your team can kill him. Your team has to be really close to full. If I take out something like their ability to destroy barrier, or if I take out, say, their ability to carry people far, like I just have to take out one leg, and suddenly it becomes a really hard matchup. The real big thing about Sicarian Iron Man Thanos that I love more than anything is just, my God, that team. If those two figures are alive, that team can truck. I
Yep.
mean, just truck. I've played a lot of games where people are like staying in their back area and they think they're safe, and Sicarian Iron Man will literally carry Phase 12, Thanos 10, with mind control put out in front, and then I mind control, then I sidestep back, and then Thanos carries 6 back. That's a huge swing. That's a colossal swing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't need to carry the full 12. So a lot of times I can get back to full starting area and have mind controlled. And I
Did
think a
you
lot of people don't see that coming. What's
did,
that?
did you pick up your object while you were picking up Thanos?
This didn't happen, for reference.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. You were just giving me for
Um,
instance.
I was giving it for instance. For that game, I was going to run away, but I was just going to. I could get to about halfway across the board. I got very lucky with my Thanos rolls too. I will say that. Against everybody, I maybe should have lost to. Again, I don't think it's the best team. I just think that it's the team that I can win with because I've practiced it enough.
And,
I also think it's a really bad team to play to get qualified into nationals because if I lose once, I'm probably in the middle of the bracket because
yeah.
it's very hard for that team to get a lot of points.
Uh,
So
I think I heard Jay Solomon say something a few weeks ago and tried out a team where he purposely underbuilt his team by like 70 points, but realistically,
yes,
yeah. Well, he was just going to be like 10 points underbuilt, but then the rest of the group like, goaded him on to like, no, you can go lower.
yeah, that's true. Oh
Uh,
yeah, I remember he played that. I think wasn't it Thanos Collector or something? But
uh, it was so low. It was a mean team, so I
I
didn't
do
commit
want
to.
to take just as quick advice to people because people do listen to this for stuff for advice. Here's a fun fact: Collector is not unkillable. Collector has one rollout and a stop click, and doesn't. I mean, he can heal, I suppose, but like, doesn't really often have an opportunity to heal. Collector, oftentimes, I'm targeting. If I have two targets, I'm usually targeting Collector. I think he is significantly more powerful than people are giving credit for, and for whatever reason, everybody just kind of ignores him, and that's kind of his power. And I think that's the thing you don't do. The same with Security Iron Man. Um, I think that attacking Sakari and Iron Man and dealing him one or two damage is a big deal, and it adds up really fast because if you ping him for two and then he has to drop an object the next time you attack him or something, it can start getting messy for him really really quickly. So these characters that we are viewing as invincible from Disney Plus really really aren't.
Yeah, well, for
I
me
think the only
with collector, it's more about if I like I try to attack a collector with my Scar and Iron Man because there was another really good target, and then he got his super sense roll, and I was like, damn it, that's exactly what I
I
did not want
almost
to happen.
never target somebody. I almost never single target somebody that's super sensed.
Well,
Because
he
I
was
think
like the best target as opposed to I forget what else was on the team, but it just seemed like it was too good of an option to not try to go after him, as opposed
got
to
there.
a 20-point piece that was on the board that didn't really interact too much.
Two things I talk about a lot is wasted actions and then wasted points. Wasted points happen a lot in the team building process. For example, a wasted point would be old school Thanos, and you are playing Molecule Man, and he doesn't run barrier, right? Like Molecule Man essentially does nothing because Thanos uses see through everything, and you can't get rid of my barrier because I don't have any, so it didn't matter. That would be an example for of wasted points. Wasted actions are tough. You have to be very cautious of this at the beginning of any game because if they hit a super sense roll right at the beginning, that can mean the entire game. It really, really can. So you have to be very cautious because a lot of times a guaranteed kill is worth more than a possible kill.
Yeah,
Especially if the swing, if you're putting the game in your opponent's hands on a 5 or a 6 roll, then you probably shouldn't be making that action because that's really, really deadly. Now, am I saying that's not sometimes going to happen? Yeah, it will. But just as a reminder, that's one reason I value dual targeting more than just about anything. So.
and that's Scar and Iron Man's weakness is that he has one target.
It's a big weakness of him. It's a big, big weakness of his. I'll often pick precision strike if I can, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. It's a whole power that just minuses the roll by one. But you know, so yeah, I think that that's probably the right thing. I think people aren't using Pulse Wave with Scar and Iron Man enough. A lot of teams are really, really fragile, and that resets the emotional modifier. That resets like all the picking. It even resets Thanos for reference. He
Yeah,
doesn't have power.
I play tested a few times with people in the Scar and Iron Man, and they seem to prefer to make him a close combat guy. And
Yeah,
I I don't know. I see a lot of teams get a lot of plays, and so I see a lot of stuff. And I just like, what if you do this instead, like persistent strike and force blast, or pulse wave and force blast, or energy explosion. Energy explosion is better than quake because now you can get multiple characters instead of the people in the front. Uh,
very true. Yeah, yeah. If you can pull that off, but yeah, you really have to be looking at everything. Most of the time, I agree. I do end up choosing Flurry and then something else, because a lot of times I can have Thanos walk the characters next to Sakari Naruman. He sidesteps and then does that.
Well, I have
All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
for sure. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully you can get one more game in before Nationals. If not, maybe I'll see you before Worlds.
Yeah, hope you'll definitely see me on here before Worlds, I'm sure. All right, guys. Thanks. I guess you end the show. I'm used to doing my own podcasts.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I'll let you end it off. How about that?
All right. Well, if you're not playing competitively,
You might as well be
you
playing with
might as well
yourself.
be playing with yourself. Good job. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Transmission complete.